and Mr. Mackintosh with his agenda. And as he says, don't ask him nothing. 3 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. It's 18:04 now. Wow, time goes quickly when you're having so much fun. Got some sun streaming in the windows there. Not so much clouds. I do hope it's nice wherever you are in the world. Enjoying yourselves, looking after yourselves, being positive with yourselves, and it's all good. How are you doing there, Professor?
I'm okay.
You're okay?
Yeah.
You're okay? I can't hear you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. Cool. All right then. So we're calling in the people, get yourselves organised, get yourselves dandy. While all that's going on live, we are watching so much. We're looking at the tennis. We're also keeping an eye on the football. I know there's cricket playing. There's sports happening all over the place and everywhere.
There is sports happening all over the place. At the moment, we've got Israel and Scotland.
Right.
This is the Women's World Cup qualification.
Right.
And Serena Williams is playing a comeback match. She's Queens.
Right now.
Right now.
What's the scores that we've got in the doors there?
So it's 0-0 in the football at the moment.
Okay. And
Serena is. What's going on?
Okay. 5 minutes past the hour of 6 here. You're listening to Sheda on the F1 and All Sports Radio Talk Show. I do hope for those of you who were live with us on Sunday for the actual race at Monaco, tuning in to It's Not Just Football, 7152. We did quite well there. So
Oh yeah.
So what is it with Serena?
Serena's score is Serena Williams. She is at the moment.
Okay.
She's at the moment. She's 40-53. Are they 3 up? 40-50 at the moment.
Okay. So what's the sets?
I'm just trying to replay there. I believe they're 3. I need to confirm.
Okay. While you're confirming,
They're 3 up. They're 3 up.
So is it 3 sets all?
No. 3 games to love.
Okay.
And they're broken back. They're broken back. So it looks like it's 3-1. 3-1 at the moment.
Okay. And 2 who?
So Serena Williams and
3 games.
Yeah.
So and it's doubles, isn't it?
It's doubles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've got Serena and her partner. They've got 3 games, and who they're playing against? Is that what's it?
They're playing against.
Okay.
We'll get the scores. We'll get the names of their playing.
So 3 games to 1. It's 6 minutes past the hour. Soon we'll be speaking to the lovely Carol Glen. So a little bit more with this and calling you all together. Thank you very much. I want to say thank you very much for tuning into the F1 All Sports Radio Talk Show. With the sports, it's quite an exciting sports weekend for the past few days. Have you enjoyed the sports yourself?
I have enjoyed the sports. I've been enjoying everything. It's been dramatic as well. There's been a lot of drama happening as well.
We've had a lot of drama in concerns to the football drama.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think the main thing has been that we've had in concerns to the referee that's not going to be allowed in the States, but at the current time, obviously in Mexico, with that. We're going to hear more feedback from that with Tunde and her thoughts about that. It's a worldwide event.
Yeah.
So this is going to be something that's going to affect everyone, not just for a sport. This is really going to be a political, dramatic conversation. Whereas previously it wasn't so much drama with politics. They say you can't put politics and sport together, but this really does put it again at the forefront.
It does indeed.
Beneficial, or otherwise is it going to cost us something more?
It's definitely going to cost something. Some countries are really dependent on some certain players and certain individuals.
Right.
So if somebody is if somebody's a coach or a physiotherapist or a sports scientist or a doctor, and they didn't happen to be born in the country that they're working for, and as a result of that, they then have to get a visa, and they have to declare the country of their birth. And if they were born in a country that deems to be an enemy of the United States, they're going to have a problem, because they're going to say, hang on a minute, we don't want this man entering the country. The rest of the team can come, but this gentleman can't. Yeah.
It's not going to do it at all. It's saddening. I'm a bit sad about that.
Yeah.
But let's liven it up a little bit with a little bit of this. I think, this is yeah. Sporting does have its memories, and one of the things I was looking at was the Brian Clough story.
Yeah.
And just realising how much of an impact that he was to not being an England manager, but also the fact that the impact that he made on football in general.
Yes, very much so. He was a maverick in a lot of ways.
Yes.
His main strength was his ability and his capacity to engage with people.
Okay.
And to motivate.
Or not.
If we're talking about players, his ability to engage players,
right,
and to motivate them, and to get inside their head and find out what made them tick, and what he needed to do to get the best out of that player,
quite
was
ingenious.
his strength. Yeah.
So I watched that. So, but what's really exciting in concerns to the past few days was, of course, the Monaco Grand Prix. Woo! Come on now. I'm talking about, I watched P1, P2, P3, and it was not just a day of just a few races. They had the academies there, and also F2 in concerns to the lower categories, as well as the main race. And Monaco is one of those iconic places. McLaren was celebrating its 1000th race, and it was Charles Leclerc's home race, so that was a very nice. And you watched the race too. What's your first impression of the race?
It was revisiting childhood memories.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
In a little nutshell, in what way? We are now 11 minutes past the hour.
In a positive way. There was a lot of memories of watching Nelson Piquet and Ricardo Patrese and Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, and when he used to and race through that tunnel and come back out the other end. Again, those days didn't have the camera.
Right.
So therefore, you had to wait. When they went into the tunnel, you had to wait for the other camera to see them come back out. You could see them go in and go around, and then you had to anticipate them coming out before they came into that S chicane. And then that hairpin bend, that legendary hairpin bend at the casino, that goes down past
the S chicane,
and
then before they go into the tunnel, and then obviously before they go onto the swimming pool area.
Yeah.
All quite exciting. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and we're going to go through the results in just a moment. And on the other side of this, I think we'll be picking up with the lovely Carol Glen. Thank you very much. She's out and about with her sister, so. Did you get is it 6-1 with the tennis? So it's 3-1. Hey Carol, how you doing there?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, can you hear her?
I'm just walking up, I'm in Crystal Palace, just trying to get to the studio, so I can talk to you guys properly.
Okay, let's see if I can.
Because if it's on, we can get up here.
Okay, we're just playing 2 tunes and then we'll come back to you. All right then? No problem. Okay. Can you hear me, Carol? Yeah, we're just testing if something out.
Okay. Can you trying to look up here?
I don't know if we can. Can you hear her? Why can't I hear her that way? Why can't I hear her? Oh, oh, that could be listed to this. Okay, when that goes up, they won't be able to because it goes like that. Okay, so, okay, in the meantime. 14 minutes past the hour. We are 14 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. We'll be speaking with the lovely Carol Glen in just a short while. She's out and about celebrating. We'll find out exactly what this is celebrating. There's always something to celebrate, and with family, it's always that little bit nicer.
Yeah.
Sorry, were you talking to me? Alright, you're okay there. Okay. Alright, Carol, got you there. Are you settled where you are? Are you comfortable? Okay, no problem, no problem. I'm going to be talking, but you carry on. No problem, you be vigilant. Okay, just move her there just for a minute. Okay, right. So yes, we were at Monaco and it was a full schedule for the past few days. P1, P2, which is on the Friday as it said, and then on the Saturday, because it is not a sprint weekend, we have P3 and then the qualifying. For P1 and P2, that's the Friday's races, Lewis Hamilton was top in consistency, he got the fastest. And then the Ferraris were really quick, they did really well. McLarens were kind of behind them. I wouldn't say they were, well, they weren't actually. Hadjar did really well. He had an accident, and the fact that they got the car back together, that was on a Friday, so that he was actually able to be a part of. They got a little bit of information telemetries. I've always said Hadjar. I'm so looking forward to the year that he has his championship. It's not going to be this year. I wouldn't say for sure, but at the moment, the chances are slim. And then on the Saturday, Kimi was the fastest for the practice run. And then obviously we had the qualifying. Well, the qualifying.
I'm here, I'm settled now.
I'm just going to set you up. Be comfortable, Carol.
I'm fine.
Okay, alright. So when I speak to you next, we're coming in with you. Okay. There are some races which are just iconic, and Monaco is one of those iconic tracks, circuits. It's the glitz, it's the actual place. Does it bring the whole money aspect of it together? Does it mean that it really puts Formula One on the map? It's one of those circuits which is like you kind of got to be there, or otherwise you've just got to.
It is, of all the circuits, it is the one where the celebrities tend to wanna gravitate toward more than any of the other circuits. It's
I
very
think
glam to
It-
it.
I think it's all about opulence. It's about I mean, I think there might be some deals to be done, but it's more about all the corporate hospitality, people saying my yacht's bigger than your yacht sort of thing, and you're having those parties, and yeah, and also ties in at the Cannes Film Festival as well, so I think we've got things on at the same time. So it's one of those very, what I call showy. It's more showy than Las Vegas.
It is. I think in concerns to circuits, now we see a certain kind of person at, let's say, Silverstone, and then at Las Vegas, as opposed to who we might actually see at the Monaco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, what you also forget, and I was reminded when they were shutting this right on Sunday, is Monaco is one of the only ones which is not run by FM, F1 or FIA.
That's quite true.
It's the only one that they have, that people have not been able to manage to negotiate, but then, so basically, they build all the stands, they get most of the gate money, most of the money from the Grand Prix goes back to spend in Monaco.
Is that because of it? Is that because it's a principality?
Yes, but because they're still under the very old deals from years ago, so they won't change, And it's basically, you want Monaco, keep it as it is, or, that's it, yeah. And it's one of the brilliant. But obviously, at the end of the day, you've got principality and for the world, you've got
Yes. Yes, which was nice. It's nice to still see that they have that tradition. You know, we don't see that tradition concerns to who might give out the awards in other races at all. And I like that about it. And that in some way, I suppose, is what Monaco was about traditionally anyway.
Yes. And because also the party and that is our prize quiz, and you've got none of the governing bodies or anybody else there like that. You know, it's very much it's their meeting, they're in charge.
So does that mean that as much as they don't have a say, that means that they can actually repeat that again, please, for me, Carol?
No, so basically the personality of most of the royals,
Yes.
and I suspect the Monaco club, sporting club of Monaco, they're the ones that organise it, so that they could have. So if you look at the people that give out the prizes, if you look at the other Grand Prix, you normally have the
Yes, that's right. They're the only ones.
The head of the local club, ASN, members of government officials. None of that goes on. It's just all the royal family.
Yes.
And anybody else that get there, yeah.
And that does make a difference to exactly who can be seen, and I like that. I like that about it, and it again, I keep using that word glitz and the glamour, and I think that's one of the things that F1.
I think St. Paul as well, where on a Sunday night they have a grand dinner.
Yes,
I think because the reason I know that because one of them was there to bring the historic Grand Prix, they all should have it at the sporting club. But I think the one for the Grand Prix is held up at the palace.
right.
So literally by 8 o'clock they've all got to be up there in their finery.
Oh, lovely. What a splendid occasion. What an
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And many of them, well, most of them, not all of them live there anymore. Obviously, it is Charles Leclerc's home. He as a Monacuan, so it's his home race. And there are other drivers that used to live there and still do live there. From that point of view, Ricardo and no, not Ricardo. Sorry, who was Lewis's old? Who was his old teammate? Rosberg. That's it, Rosberg. Rosberg, Lewis. He doesn't live there anymore. I get the impression. But I'm sure they might have homes and so forth there. But I'm talking about Lewis Hamilton.
He doesn't have his home there anymore. It's the house of our now in Milan, America, and London.
Thank you. Oh, that's right. London. Okay.
Yeah.
With that said, first I want to thank you very much for spending time and obviously speaking with CJ and Angel last week. Thoroughly enjoyed and learned so much in concerns to his karting life and just what it takes to be in that environment, and even the cost I was looking at. We're going to play some of that. The cost of actually being in karting now, and it was very nice to hear Lewis Hamilton speak up for karters, for families and those who get involved in karting now as opposed to many years ago. Thank you. Can you still hear me?
It went quietly, so I'm probably trying to ring my sister, trying to message her.
How's that about celebrating a family birthday right now? So we want to say family greetings and birthday greetings to those that are celebrating today, which is really nice. Hope you've had a lovely day with your family there.
Yes, we've had a lovely. In fact, we've been 10 days away from you from motorsport moment. We've been to Stratford, went to the history of black music, which was at the V&A in Stratford. Very good, very well where people to go.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good. So people, if you're thinking of something, lots of something to do, and what's great about the British museums is that they're free, but some of the exhibitions, which are paid, not too expensive,
This
go.
one you have to pay for, but the youngsters can get the shoes, can get concessions. There are some concessions.
And it's well worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
It is well worth it. In concerns to looking at what else is going on, I know that for your diary, we were looking at one note. Come on, sheet there. Diary, casting expenses, power unit. The conference that you've got in July. That's what I wanted to.
Oh, right, yes. So I had a call last week. I think it was when I was just going away. From a lady in America who found me by Instagram. And she does a sports conference in America, in LA.
Yes.
And she's bringing it to London.
So.
And she's asked me to be on the panel.
Fantastic.
That's on Monday the 6th of July.
Monday the 6th of July.
Yeah. I think you can have buy tickets at this one. I'm just giving the name of what it's called. Sorry, I'm just trying to look at it.
Do you have a location as yet?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Just give me, because my brain at the moment is.
You did very well juggling yourself, getting yourself to a safe position, so thank you very much. I can't think of how many cars you had to tell them to stop and get out of the way. But,
Yeah.
let me ask the professor.
So it's going to be held at, it's called diverse, it's a fund of diverse representation. The conference is, sent me an invite for. There's got different people from different sports going to be there. I know.
So it's sporting across the whole platform.
Yeah. It's a celebration of black women in sports.
Wow.
And it's going to be held at, it's a hotel in Victoria. We've got the evening section right here. I'll hold on the calendar.
Now, black women in sports, she's, as you said, held it in the USA. So we're talking about not just England, but that black women in sports, Europe and all that.
It's going to be held at the Claremont London Hotel in Victoria on the 6th of July. I think you can go online and get tickets for it. It's called, I think it's called the Diverse. Yeah.
Diverse sports, diverse women in sport. No, black.
Yeah.
Diverse.
It's called
Diverse representation. Black women in sports.
Celebrating Black Women in Sports.
Okay. You know, in looking at some women in sport saw an article and some information concerns to Tessa. Is it Tessa Sanderson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thinking of, I mean, it's years ago now, but realistically, that was such an impact, and just what difference this.
Her and the lady the javelin, what was the other one?
Fatima, yes.
They were
Wow.
two very black women in sports,
Mhm.
in athletics.
And we think of how they paved the way for so many other women, you know, we could think
Yeah.
concerns to Denise, and after Denise was the other Denise's protege that I think of. We know who we're talking about. We know who we're talking. And she did the decathlon as well, but she changed. I think they changed it a little bit, the decathlon, and I've got to look at. Anyway, but we digress just a little bit. But thank you very much. So that's going to be diverse women in sports.
If you look up www.womeninsports.com, then that's the website for it, and then you can get tickets for the day. But they've got quite a nice thing. They're doing things like a tea. Because obviously a lot of these women are coming to London. So they've got day one on the Sunday. They're doing a welcome tea at Harrods. You can join them on that. The symposium is on the Monday from 10 till 2. So, and then you've got people like, I can't remember his name, somebody, the founder of African Sports Investor, and then Enola Aluku, who is the broadcaster investor.
Right.
She's going to do it, and then I'm on with Jackie Patel, impact director for rugby, and Carol Glen, founder of Next Race Generation.
Rugby is doing very well in concerns to how the women are really making a mark, like how they did with football. And the fact that you're representing women's racing and sports, thank you. Thank you very much, because out of all the sports that there are to choose from, the fact that's an impact. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You know, when you think that's there with rugby, so they've got.
Absolutely.
So is that 3 people I'm understanding there on the panel?
There's 2 different panels. So there's one, somebody called Abola Janani, who's the CEO and founder of Africa Sports Investor. Enola Aluku, who's the football executive broadcaster. That's under Black women as the new face of ownership. The new and emerging opportunities for Black women sports is where I'm going to be on. Jackie Patel, impact director for rugby, and rugby. And then there's another one called Building a Global Brand. That's a strategy session with Black women in sports. And that's going to be somebody called Simone Crocker, who's the chief officer from Valerie. Sarah Nicholas Gay, global communications manager for Octagon, and Hannah Campbell, founder and managing director of 112 Agency.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Now, my question here is, it's not the first time that you've been on the panel, I'm aware, it's not the first time that you've done interviews. This is something that's, I'm hearing a different kind of stage and representing many when there's just one. Sometimes we can go into a room and we're not necessarily the only people that represent everybody, but it's like one person representing everybody or representing everything. So as a responsibility, how have you found the stages that have grown over the time when you've been representing women in motorsport? How is that?
It's been quite easy, and I just got on with it. But occasionally, like this one now, I am actually on a bit of a golf moment, thinking, oh my goodness, you know, these women have sourced me from the US, they're coming over, but they've also done their homework. And in fact, it's one of two events I'm doing. On the Wednesday, I'm doing another one, which has been in the diary for a year, called this UK Black Business Entrepreneurs, and that's going to be held in Bishopsgate. And I'm a keynote speaker for that one, and I really am. So I'm not sure what I'm talking about on that one.
Okay. And that's obviously, as you say, the July is on the Monday, so the Black Business, I gather, is on the Saturday.
Yes. No, on the Wednesday, I've got the Monday and then the Wednesday.
The Wednesday, so it's the 8th.
Yeah.
Okay, that's on the 8th. We put that arrow there. That's on the 8th of July. But so we are now 33 minutes past the hour of 6. So thank you very much for sharing your diary with us. So on the 6th of July, that's representing Black Women in Sport. That's going to be held at the Claremont in London. There's time and everything else to find out more about that. And more importantly, it seems it's quite a level up in concerns to British, as British English, representing in sports, you know.
Yeah,
from a black
definitely.
point of view.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot. There is a lot changing. We're making some good progress. I have seen a few. So, for example, Colin Kazim Richards, who he played for Turkey, born in Walthamstow. His mum his mum's Turkish, his dad is Caribbean, from Antigua, and he now is manager of Crawley Football Club.
Oh, wow, so we still do have somebody.
We have somebody called Kieran Dyer, who used to play for Newcastle United, and play for England. He's just recently signed as the manager for Southend. So at League 2 and in the conference, Jermaine Defoe is the manager at Wilkinson. So again, where you've got like a tier of young British-born managers who are going into management outside of ex-retired players. I'm still concerned that in terms of the Premiership, the top clubs, the young black managers aren't given a chance. But again, it's making that change.
Yes.
And then there's in football you've had somebody like Holt Powell. Holt Powell has been one of the most senior. Holt Powell was like one of the senior UEFA qualified coaches, not female coaches. UEFA senior qualified UEFA B licensed coaches. She's one of the first in the country.
And you don't always hear about that.
No.
It's the same as, I'm going to bring us back to F1 from that point of view, because now we've got 5 British F1 drivers.
Yes.
We have one individual who is going to bring a whole different part of, I suppose, Formula One driving, V8, and I'm talking about Anthony Hamilton. Even though it's not totally on, well, it's in the workings. He did make a comment that.
It's largely, I saw some pictures of the car. The car is now ready. What it is.
Okay. He made a comment, but the FIA made another comment. He wasn't too happy about someone speaking on his behalf.
No.
Which I think quite rightly so, as if they're making their.
This is an initiative that he's doing exactly himself.
Yes, and as if they're giving it, or as if they've got something else to do with it. And it could, I suppose it says something else about the sport. In other words, if there's a gap in the sport, sometimes you can make a difference, which is what, what's his name did with the athletics in the States.
Michael Johnson.
That's right. Trying to, I suppose, put money in the sport in a different way.
But I think in terms of the issue that was raised, I've seen a few things in cricket, and I've seen a few things in boxing, where the actual authorities, once the initiative was started by an individual, the authorities are trying to say, oh, well done, and it's like, hang on a minute, guys, you didn't actually help me with this initiative. As a matter of fact, when I first came to you with the idea, we weren't actually supporting it. Now that it's grown legs and the public like it, you want to try and, cozy up. Again, the situation with Marcus Rashford, when he was doing the homeless feeding of the family during COVID.
Yes.
And Boris Johnson was trying to make big announcement, and Marcus Johnson said, when I started it, guys, you weren't trying to help me.
Yes.
So don't try and take credit now.
Definitely.
Now that I've actually started it and got it going. Now you're trying to jump on the bandwagon and make out like you lot was in favour.
I'm gonna go just to a little bit of our days. As we watched the Formula One race over the weekend, which in itself was quite something. So as said, there were 3 practices, and then we had the qualifying. I mentioned earlier that Lewis Hamilton did very well for practice 1 and practice 2, and then Kimi obviously got the top for practice 3. That's for qualifying. I mean, for the P3, Kimi got first for P3. I mean, when I say practice, but you're quite right. For the qualifying, so for qualifying, as you said, And I think, did you see the qualifying, Carol?
No, I didn't. I only saw the qualifying. Yes, I saw it to the qualifying. That's what I saw.
You're quite right. Leclerc, he did really well to get his car on pole. And then we had Max Verstappen, and unfortunately, then Leclerc decided to go out again because there were so many, well, not so many, we had quite a few accidents through the qualifying in concerns to just those drivers who weren't able to, we had some yellow flags, people got stuck, they had to come around, and then it was stopped for a short while. And those that actually made it into, and I'm going to get my qualifying theory right here, just a moment. But what also occurred for the qualifying was the fact that Leclerc went out again to try and get his car back on pole, and that's where unfortunately it didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
Very sad, and it's unfortunate that we didn't see that, and we didn't get to witness the man on his home ground obviously make the best. And as you've experienced Monaco, what is it really like when those cars are going past you at such close proximity?
Oh, it's amazing. It's just amazing. I mean, I still don't think the modern cars need the same noise as you get the historic there, 2000 tunnel. It's absolutely amazing. And it's very fast. You have to have the script to see where they are. It's a very short circuit. Like, it is amazing.
Let me quickly go over the qualifying list that we have. So on pole was Kimi Antonelli. Wow, I mean, this is his fourth pole, and McLaren hadn't been on pole since I think 2019, and I'm really impressed by the relationship between Antonelli and Bono. I think Bono's the man from the point of view, the relationship that was had with him and Lewis, and now how it's been seen. It's not so much the drivers, it really shows how the engineers are valuable. Which we
Yes.
So the engineers are really being highlighted in some respects. So back to what I was saying, Antonelli, Verstappen second on the grid there, then Hamilton at 1.29179, and where was Antonelli's 1.12.151, which I was like, okay, so closer and closer from that point if you're tenths apart. Leclerc, in concerns to Hamilton and Leclerc, Hamilton was 1.12279 and Leclerc was 1.12235. So, I know people are hearing these figures and thinking they're just numbers, but they are just hair lengths in some respects and considers just how close they are. So, Anthony, Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Hadjar in fifth, Russell, Piastri, then we come with Norris. And for the McLarens, that's their 1000th Grand Prix.
Yes.
Gasly, wow. Lawson, 10th, good for Lawson there. Lindblad coming up there. Sainz, Hulkenberg in 13th, not 10th.
Yeah.
Not 10th.
Yeah.
Not 11th, sorry, because he wasn't making it to P1.
No.
To Q1, so he was,
No.
to Q3, he was always making it to Q2. Hulkenberg, Colapinto, then, have I made a mistake there? Bortoletto, this is somebody. Ocon, Perez, Berman, Bottas, Alonso, and Stroll. So there was some obviously that had to start in the pit lane, which was Bortoletto. And now the main thing which, besides the race, there were a lot of pit lane infringements. And let me go to. Yes. Now,
I just want to sort of try and figure this up.
yes, please. I know you explained it to me. I got it, but I kind of got it. So let me, before we just go there, those who didn't make it finish the race, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So Sainz was out, Leclerc was out, Stroll was out, Norris was out, Berman was out, Bottas was out, and so was Verstappen, who didn't really get off the line, so to speak.
Yeah.
But everybody else, and including everybody else did make it round, but we had no less than 6 infringements and something. Is
Yeah.
infringement the right word that I'm using?
Yes, it is a pit lane syndrome.
Okay. So as you were saying, please help us understand what exactly
Okay,
it is.
so what happens, at each circuit, they've all got different pit lane limits. Some of them are 60, some of them are 80 kilometres an hour.
Yes.
I think for the public that is 60.
Yes.
And it means when as they come in, there's a button they have to press, which is called a regulator, to bring the speed of the car down,
Mm-hmm.
so that they don't go in. So you have to imagine also a bit about, like, those of you who drive, you have to go through average speed cameras.
Yes.
So you've got the first camera, and then the second camera, and it measures your speed from there to there. So like the average speed, camera should be 50 miles an hour. If you arrive at the second camera too early, that means you're speeding.
Yeah.
Okay? So with the Grand Prix, there are timing loops all around the circuit, hence why you get the sector time. So there's at least two timing loops, one for sector 1, one for sector 2, that's why they can get the sectors. There's another one which is in the ground of the pit lanes for pit stops. So as they come in and they come over that line and they hit their regulator, that means that their speed should come down, and that's also how they time pit stops, of how long they've gone in and gone out, and at what speed they've gone in and gone out. The problem this weekend was, or is that it's not a straight pit loop. The coming in is like, you have to come round the corner just before Rascasse, or just after Rascasse, and they have to do a sharp right to then go dive into the pit lane. It also depends on where the transponder is, because all those cars have got a transponder.
Is it on their tyres or is it just on the axle?
It's somewhere on the axle. So it depends whether it's on the left or right side. So for example, if it's on the wrong side, and the curvature that they come in, it would deem them to be speeding.
Right.
But then I think some of the teams, while they got that completely taken away, because they were able to show by their own data that the car had to slow down.
Okay.
That's why some of them went away.
That
There was a
makes
couple,
sense.
I think they didn't name them or possibly said yes, but I think what's his name?
Hajjal?
How was your infringement?
Yes, and so was Mackintosh.
Yeah.
Said yes, we were speeding, we were back to right.
Right.
So it was all to do with the angle and whether they press their limiter, which was the would have done. But it's the angle, and also it could possibly also the positioning of where the transport was, because of that reason.
It really did make a difference in concerns to just having so many cars go through the pit lane.
Exactly.
Very uncomfortable. And even at one time, I know that, in qualifying, no, it was in the race that Antonelli got a black and white flag, and so did Lewis, which was troubling at one time because it's like, oh my gosh, if that happens.
And if they do another time, then that's going to be a drive-through. And then obviously the big cock-up was Mercedes' team.
Oh yes.
George, but his wasn't for speed, his was for out of position, I think,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Yeah, at the start of the race.
At the start of the race.
Yes, you can see that he was.
So you're meant to come in at the earliest opportunity to do a pit stop, and then you're going to do a pit stop, and they sort of hesitated, thinking they should have used it. But I think because they had that safety car and it was double stacking,
Yes.
everybody forgot. Everybody forgot.
They forgot. And for one, there was a bit of hesitation, but the hesitation, it wasn't enough to think, are we not? And unfortunately, it ruined his race at the end, which at that.
Well, I thought that maybe if he came back, if they had the second safety car, then he could have come in there. But once he missed it, so then the next thing is the drive-through.
Yeah.
Quite unfortunate for him,
Yeah.
so.
Another thing that we've noticed as well is that it was quite a fast race in the fact that everybody was at Hilly, Hamilton, the top 4 cars had lapped everybody. Everybody was lapped down. So they lapped everybody up to 4th place.
And that's why they had to, for the restart, they had to ensure that they were unlapped. Would that be correct?
Yeah, exactly. They had to go back to do the lap behind, yes.
So does that mean, so when they came into the pit lane, the ones that were lapped had to, obviously they got out of the way to let them through, and then
Yes,
Yeah,
they have to
right.
back round, go back onto the back of
Of the
the
grid.
pack,
Alright.
Right.
and to get that extra lap back in.
Now, it wasn't unusual to get the results of, or to finalise who would be on the podium. And I was really pleased, obviously, that Hajar, after such a weekend and after the time that he has, to actually see him on the podium, which
Where
was,
he kept it, because I don't really realise and picked up that Cadillac had their first point, and then they
yes,
lost that because
yes,
Danny
With the loss, yeah.
lost his appeal. So what people also have to remember that the results are always provisional, and even though that there can be stuff that's on the podium, obviously
penalties.
when there's been a check, that happened last year when was it now the McLaren had to give their trophy back to somebody? Yeah. So I'm not sure the person who actually gets that case doesn't get all the big ceremony.
Yes.
So
Yeah. I forgot about that actually.
yeah.
Given it was, she's not always
So
nice.
to which gives with all the judicial and everything else,
Mm.
and then they will sign off with the harms by saying, yeah, these times can now be made home with fine. So
Well, it was,
at the end of every time sheet that these times are provisional.
so we've now got a definite, when I say a definite leader, or a leader in the championship with Antonelli. And the fact that, he's not, I suppose in some respects, that is to say way ahead if we
Yeah.
think of just how many points that he does have, 156 points, with Lewis Hamilton behind him on 90. So he obviously, he's come up now, and unfortunately Charles Leclerc is fourth with his 75 because he didn't get any points.
Yes.
So we've got Antonelli, Lewis, George, who also didn't have the best of races, and that definitely does make a difference to how you can look at the championship.
It does.
In that sense, yeah. No, that's quite alright. So with Antonelli, 156 points, 5th Grand Prix in a row. I mean, are we really looking at something quite unique here?
I agree, but I'm not going to take any comments on that because I think it's still too early.
Yes, it is too early. And from the point of view, this time last year, Piastri was in the same position.
Exactly.
And I seem to forget that. Or is it because he's such a young man?
Exactly.
And
the Piastri's year was a race of 2 hours. The first half of the year, he was on point to win,
yes,
and then it didn't happen.
yeah, most definitely. And after, I think, it's after we did the European stint, and things definitely changed.
Yeah, it really changed.
Yeah.
So I think it's way too early to do any predictions.
Mm-hmm.
And until some of the teams get all their upgrades on power, things could change. Because obviously in the mix there is Nancy is still Hamilton down.
Who did very well to get his car in second position. And you talk about the power, so we've obviously got the V6 engine, which now FIA, they have decided, as you say, to give monies or tokens to some.
Yeah, so some two, I'm not a my machine. I think it's called AUDO. So they've checked all the power users out, and then some of them are actually under, not performance,
Under power.
Under power, yes. So they've done this sort of grading percentage system. So if they, I can't remember
Is it 2%?
I think Ferrari are like 2% behind because they've got a token that means that they can now work on their power unit, and they can also spend money. So they're going to be giving a slight what can we do?
I suppose it's
They spend more money out of the spending cash to then get so all the power units are all going to be at the same percentage.
As we mentioned, Spain Cup, it really does make a difference to previous seasons when something like this and the bigger teams would just be able to throw money at it and make it work.
Yeah.
Whereas now there's much more. Yeah, they can't.
And it's interesting to bear in mind that Max had a power unit problem. The Red Bull one is the one that's at the top.
Right.
Supposedly.
But however, there was a power unit problem which also happened with George last race, and we saw that who else's car just went out there? Was it Science? Science. whose car just literally stopped. So this is something that we're going to see, I suppose, through the season. And also, I mean, with the European races, they're just as fast. We've got, a few other street races, or half on track street races with our usual Italy, we're obviously in Spain next week. So we've got Madrid and is it Madrid and Spain races. I want to say the right name. Catalonia, that's it, and Barcelona. Which I suppose that's new for us, having 2 races in Spain, as we would usually have the ones that are in Italy. Obviously we've got with Imola and the other ones which we usually have in Italy from that point of view. My question there was, as we spoke about the engines, over the next few races, with the quick turnarounds, even though they'll be able to get the parts all in Europe, that we're really going to see the cars wear down, I suppose, because they've really got to make sure that for each race they're on par. It's going to be quite new and quite different with that power. But mind you, Red Bull and Red Bull Racing, because obviously Red Bull serviced Red Bull Racing, and the fact that we had Lindblad and Lawson up there, that's quite good.
That is, absolutely.
And Hadjar.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so happy for him. So happy for him. I think after all the little mishaps that he's had.
Yeah.
So with that said, I want to quickly have a mention to McLaren 1000th race. That's quite iconic when you think of the teams that changed their names. The ones that because we used to have Sauber, which are now Kick Sauber, which is now. I don't remember the names. They changed it halfway through the season. So no, that's Alpine. They changed Audi, Haas. No, they had changed. Aston Martin, Red Bull Racing. Yeah, even Red Bull Racing and Red Bull, because Red Bull is now Red Bull Racing. Red Bull Racing is Red Bull is now Red Bull. Racing Bulls. Racing Bulls, that's what I'm saying. Hasha. Yes. So they're Racing Bulls. Thank you. And it's remembering all the names that do change, and to think that certain teams, in some respects, have always just been Ferrari, Williams, McLaren, Mercedes, even though they may have different owners from times. But even then, when we think of Williams, it's only recently that the Williams are with different owners, so to speak. But otherwise, still traditionally Williams, and it's nice to have like Aston Martin. I want how we saw these huge motorhomes that came in, obviously, over this time. I was looking at how they really had to. It was such a jigsaw to get the motorhomes and the transport. I call them transformers because obviously they come in and these vans just change into little hotels. And then before you know it, they come and they go. And that was quite something. What was one of the best parts of the race for yourself, Carol?
I think just seeing there wasn't a lot of overtaking, but there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on.
There's only one overtake, wasn't there? I think. Which was Lindblad.
Yeah.
Is that's right, Professor? I remember you were definitely quite impressed.
Lindblad, oh yeah. Lindblad that's a little bit of a throwback overtake.
Which was quite surprising. Not easily done.
Not easily done, no, not easily done.
And I want to acknowledge somebody else, because I didn't actually watch the race. IndyCar was on.
Yes, I did see a bit of it.
Miles Rowe started from the back.
Right.
And came through to win.
Wow. When I wrote a note about IndyCar, just how many times I've got to go around that track. I didn't realise there were so many cars that start the race.
But can we pick up on this a bit more next week?
Okay. Let me just do it because we've been talking about Indies quite a lot recently. IndyCars. Okay. I watched the grid and just the whole setup of it. and just the gradient. And I will say, just going back to Monaco, just looking at how undulating, you know, it's quite, the actual track is. You know, these tracks are not just.
I think when you're younger, you know, when you're younger, you don't appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing definitely you don't appreciate when you're a lot younger. As you get older, and when you drive yourself, and you have a bit more understanding about driving, you then appreciate the fact that with a lot of tracks, the tracks are one level, tend to be. There's not so much of a gradient that you go up, which then adds to the complexity of Monaco, and why when you win at Monaco, it requires so much more skill to be able to do well at that track.
Continuously.
Yeah.
Driver of the race for you, Carol? Kimmy. Driver of the race for you, Professor?
Yeah, Kimmy. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
I think I'd go with that. I'm really pleased for Hamilton.
Yeah.
Really pleased for him, actually. At one time, I thought he might have even overtaken Kimmy.
I thought he was going to go for it,
Yeah,
you know.
sensible, just bring it home, baby. Bring it home. And even, I will say, Kimmy got the fastest lap again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kept going for it, yeah.
And it really proves that with the accidents that were had, even with just the safety issues that were had, and just how fortunate we are that nobody did have any fatal circumstances. Well, I know we can talk more, and I'd love to, and I want to from that point of view. In concerns to going to, when we're in Spain, obviously next week. This week. On Saturday, yes. The schedule's quite tight. Again, we haven't got a sprint weekend, but what we have got is quite a full. I will be going through the schedule with everybody, with our practice 1 and 2 obviously had on the 12th, practice 3 on the 13th, with qualifying again on the Saturday, and the Sunday the race is at 2 p.m.
But also remember this weekend, what is it this weekend? The British Honor. It's Le Mans weekend.
Le Mans.
You know what? So much. I'm going to miss so much. I'm going to miss so much.
I'm looking for my step right, except for what's happening Sunday.
Le Mans.
You know, okay, that's going to be what we've got. I wonder what more. Well, like we did last year, we're going to find out who's doing what. I wonder if, but who has done that beforehand? We've had Button do that. Have we had Button do that?
The whole 24 hours.
Yes.
Obviously, Jamie Chadwick's doing it.
Okay, again. No, a minute, Jamie, even quick. Okay, we're going to have a look at that in just a minute. Oh my gosh.
I'm really sorry, I have to go.
I'm going to say thank you very much. Last words with you.
Well, it's been a phenomenal race. It's a Barcelona been saying, and I can't wait till the weekend.
Thank you very much, Carol. Take care, much love, and love to the family. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Carol.
Wow, how fortunate we are in concerns to not forgetting that Carol's got a very dynamic diary, and I just want to say, in concerns to just being sought out, which just shows how fantastic Instagram is from that point of view, for the Black Women in Sport, and that's going to be held on July 6th. That's Monday, July 6th, and 2 days later for the UK Black Business Entrepreneurs event that should be held on the 8th for her there.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So with that, it just shows that, you know, I believe in build it and they will come, and just to see how one individual has an impact on what we do, and just
and how we do it,
and just the viewpoint from the point of view of a sport, and just, I mean, with being sought out, and I've said that quite a few times, and I repeat myself, but anyway, so that you have the opportunity to, you can see him squeezing it because the sun's mine, to be sought out so that other people can be inspired. That's what I want to say. Yeah. So, with all that said, any other remarks you think on the race there, Professor?
Definitely the overtake. The overtake was like, 1984. The overtake, that overtake.
Yeah.
there's a skill factor on it. With as again modern driving, you've got the power pack, you've got the electronic element.
Mm-hmm.
That is a new addition, something new that the engineers and the mechanics have to. At that time, it was really the focus was fuel strategy and refueling,
As opposed to
now, refueling is not as significant a factor as the electronics of the car and getting that battery powered element.
But I suppose they're getting used to refueling the car, fueling the car enough from the qualifying so that when they actually do the race, they've got enough. But it still could be a case that they haven't.
But I find that refueling strategy is now not the cutting edge thing that the engineers are trying to work out. What I'm seeing now is that you have your refueling strategy, but what you need to do is make sure that you've got the electronics working when you go into your overdrive to overtake somebody.
And I suppose this is the 50-50 angle in concerns to, as you say,
how much fuel, how much electronics,
with the power.
That seems to be the cutting edge thing that engineers are working hard to try and get that balance so that the car can. You've got that, and again, when we had the restart, who stalled again? Who couldn't start again? Yeah, Verstappen.
Not the restart.
No, the restart. After the safety car, right at the end.
Wasn't side.
Where he couldn't get it going.
Okay, well, I didn't make a note of that.
Yeah, but the restart, when they had the last safety car,
right.
I was brought out, again, the electronics failed on the vehicle.
That's when, that's when he went round and he had to have a lot of science. He started, but then, because the clerk went in and science the clerk went into the wall, but science went in beforehand.
Yes.
Am I wrong there?
No, science, he was after the second safety, so science went into the wall.
Then they had to stop.
And then you had the final safety, and they went into the grid, and they all lined up position. After the final safety car went, and the electronics went down, it was it that didn't.
I'm thinking it might have been science, but
yeah. So it's getting that balance right with the electronics and everything like that.
Because it was after the clerk that they obviously they had to red flag it.
Yeah.
Which was unfortunate, and obviously with the time, I've never seen that before when they've had to do that. We are coming up we are now past, we're going to give Tunde a call. Let's do this. Oh no, that's right. So,
Volko and Williams, 7-6 in the first set.
Okay.
3-1 up in the second.
Okay.
They're down 30. Martinez and Radcliffe are serving. Well, they've won that. They're 40 up.
So,
but they're 3-1 down. So
they're three sets to one.
Yeah.
In the second.
3 games to 1 down in the second. So they're hoping to go 3-2.
Right.
If they get a double break, then it could be curtains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, already.
Yeah.
Why did it's Queens? I mean, she came back. It was a let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, so let's put
Scotland are 2-0 up against
football.
Israel. Yeah, in football.
So, and these are the friendlies still, obviously.
These are still no. So the women's are in the qualification for the Women's World Cup. So this isn't a friendly, this is a qualifying.
Are you talking about men or women?
This is women.
Okay, so qualifiers.
Scotland women are playing Israel women.
Right.
So they're 2-0 up
For
Scotland.
Right.
Israel are kind of hanging on a little bit. This is relatively comfortable for Scotland.
Okay.
It's not.
Let's find out. I'm sure that Tunde might be watching that as we speak too.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at this. Tunde, have I got you on the right phone?
Yes, you have, but everything is good.
Okay, I'm here with the Professor.
Yeah, greetings, Professor, greetings.
Yeah, greetings.
Just to let you know, we've mentioned the Scotland,
Israel
Scotland, Israel,
qualifiers,
and we want to mention a little bit of
the visa issues.
the visa issue. But other than that, where do you want to go to first?
We're going to England. We do the.
Oh, the England, New Zealand.
Well, we can do that. We talk about that, and then we go to the live instance. We do England first. Yeah?
Okay, all right, because I saw that match. Okay, so I can be involved in that, and then I'll leave you with the Professor.
Yeah.
So, you have your talk. Okay, right. So let me go here. Okay, I'm going to bring you in just a moment. Well, we are keeping up with all that's going on all over the place. We've had a lovely time speaking with the lovely Carol Glen of Next Generation, talking about her diary and also Monaco. Not forgetting the celebrations for McLaren with their 1000th race. It was Leclerc's home race. He didn't finish the race, unfortunately, with Anthony doing very well, and obviously we're going to go into the results and so forth. Results. We're also keeping a check what's happening with the tennis. And I get the impression that Serena and her partner's not doing too well. And they're down to 3 sets, you said?
No. Sorry, my apologies. So they won the first set, 7-6.
Okay.
The second set, they're 3-2 up, and they're serving to go 4-2.
Okay, right. So now we've decided. Okay.
That was my fault.
Okay, you still standing. I'm not shooting today. It's okay. Right, so, but thank you. At least we know.
Yeah.
At least let's do the chance.
Yeah.
And
Mboko.
Okay.
Mboko is a partner, a young lady from she's DR Congo.
Okay. That's the partner.
I believe she's La France.
Okay.
Yeah. DR Congo playing in France.
Okay.
And she's her partner.
Okay.
For the doubles, whether she'll be probably going to be a partner in. She's actually Canadian. Resident.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I've been watching quite a bit of tennis, but what I also watched over the past few days, it was, I think it was Saturday. I watched
England, the warm-up game against New Zealand.
Let me tell you, I was there. But I did hear about the England game. Actually, let me be quiet, because who knows more than I know is our Tunde, who talks football. What does she talk?
More football.
More football.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh. So I did see the game with England and New Zealand, and fortunately, they won. I saw
New Zealand's not considered the world footballing power, so I feel that if England would have lost, the media would have had more recriminations.
Yeah, it would have been a very good fish and chips packet on
Very good fish and chips packet.
So what's your take on that today?
Well, I'm going to be honest with the people, because I'm honest, yeah.
Yes.
I listened to the England game, and I was watching Scotland, Bolivia, because there was goals in that game, and that's what I want to see. Goals.
Okay.
Yes.
This thing, what's it called? World Cup warm-up games, fine-tuning games. That's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For the England game, it's up that they're two different teams in each half. So,
Yes.
you know, it's got the time to make changes. It's got one more game left. They get on Wednesday against Costa Rica, another fine-tuning game. They just need to fine-tune and make sure when it comes down to doing the business, they're ready. That's what we need to start talking about. You know?
And this is what previously.
It's experimental. If you've got time, you've got time to do those little things. You can't be experimenting when you're out there.
No.
You know what I mean? I don't know, 40-degree.
And they've had criticism in the past. They've had criticism in the past where squads have gone to the World Cup and players who are in the squad have not played in the warm-up games, and then when it's come to the later stages and the knockout games, you're bringing them on as a sub,
Yes.
but they've never even had a little 5-10 minute run out. So
Yes, doesn't help.
it's important to give everybody a little run out, because that's more important than the actual winning or losing. It's the player getting used to the environment, playing, mixing with his teammates, knowing the tactics and everything, rather than actual winning or losing the game.
Imagine being 17-year-old and making your debut.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So that's what we're talking about, things like that.
Yeah.
Things like, that's what, you know.
So has Tuchel done a good thing then? Has he done a good thing?
He is the England head coach, yeah. He's
Mhm.
paid to do these things. So far, so good. But so, like I said, yeah, it all comes down to the nitty gritty out there in USA, Canada, and Mexico. Ask me on the 19th of July whether Tuchel done a good thing, and my answer will be yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'll say. But so far, it's all right. So far, it's all right. You know, and so just remind people. This Wednesday, England, the final World Cup warm-up game is against Costa Rica, all right? That's the men. Oh, okay, so we've done that. But they won the game. Harry Kane put the ball in the back of the net.
Yes.
1-0 for. Let me
Yes.
tell you people, when you get out there to the World Cup, and when you're in the group stages, if you win the game 10-0 or you win the game 1-0, it's 3 points you get, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so all we need is 3 points. And yes, we would love to have like attacking football and people running here and there and those and those. We may get that, but I'm thinking with the temperature that's going to be out there, it's not going to be as, you know, fast and furious all the time. We just need the W. If
Yeah,
the
of course.
performance is brilliant, that's a bonus. I'm telling you now, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's so important. When England played Argentina and Mexico in '86 in the quarterfinals, John Barnes was brought in as a substitute, and he created a goal for Gary Lineker.
Yes.
And he also created the second opportunity that could have made it 2-2. Now, again, the question is, during the phase, John Barnes didn't play in any of the warm-up games because he was a substitute.
So you did very well.
He did very well to come on and have an impact.
Mm.
So it's really important that those players, when they do come on, you're not cold.
Right. Of
You know,
course.
you've
No.
had a little run out.
Mhm.
You've played one of the warm-up games, even if you've played one half.
Mhm.
At least when it comes down to it, if somebody, anything can happen. A man can get a freak injury,
Okay, of course.
and then it's okay. You got to bring a man on, and then when you bring him on,
Mhm.
he's not cold. He's okay. I played in that warm-up game. I'm used to it. I know what to do, and you're ready. You know.
Yeah, it's not just physically, it's
Mentally as well,
ready,
yeah,
psychologically ready, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Definitely,
yeah.
yes.
So that was the New Zealand and England game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Lionesses, yeah, let's talk about because they don't win a World Cup warm-ups. But listen, I'm not going to deviate. Trust in Serena. You win or you learn. And England, sometimes you have to learn. A little setback like this, the loss they had to Spain, they know they didn't perform well. You know what I mean? But they didn't perform well. There's no point in dressing it up. They didn't, but they have to jump.
Maybe they didn't turn up. They didn't turn up, did they? Did they turn up?
People can bring up them phrases down that didn't turn up. But they were on the pitch, so they've got to turn up. You know what I mean? They have to perform.
Yes.
And Spain were brilliant. You know, you have to put it down there. But they were more superior than England on the day, and that's what happens. But it doesn't mean that England haven't they're out of the qualification. They've still got the chance to qualify, and they will learn from it because
Yeah, of course.
that's what Serena said. And you can't be panicking after every one loss.
Yes,
If you
quite
start
right.
panicking, then no, it's not good. So
No, it's not
basically, England play Ukraine tonight, 8 p.m. kickoff. They need to win their game. That's all they can do, yeah. And then it depends on how Spain do. You know, Spain are going to play Iceland. It's to do with the goal difference and things. But even if England finish second in the league, what will happen is that they will go through a qualifying match to secure their spot. You know, but it's only the people who finish top that's got automatic qualification.
Right.
So, yeah, that's how it is, you know what I mean? So you have to just like send the good vibes. They're playing up in Everton this evening, right? So at the Dickinson Stadium there. So 8 p.m. Send your vibes and good luck to
For the Lionesses.
The lionesses, women people, trust in Serena,
Serena.
support
Israel
Jordan,
just pulled the goal back. For those who want to know.
you know, and you know, I mentioned that they are doing the World Cup qualification, so it leads me nicely to the fact that people come on 2 days, man, 2 days before
Yeah.
kickoff,
2 days.
Mexico against South Africa is the opening game of the World Cup, right? Now, I'm really hoping that it's going to be a festival of football, a World Cup of wonder. But as my brother Ian rightly said, and I agree with him, so far it's been a bit of a World Cup of chaos that hasn't even kicked off yet.
Yeah.
So, when I say, let me explain what I mean, just briefly, with like some fans, some players, some officials, some journalists, and even some referees being denied access to go and do their job or go and enjoy the football out there in America. Plus, the rocketing price of accommodation, transport, and expensive tickets. And then, right, you may have secured that, but if like, you may not be able to get a visa, or you've got all your paperwork, but then you go all the way to America, and you've got no guaranteed entry, you can still, the border official can still turn people away. So some people are saying, you know what, I can't do that. How can you do that? You know how much money that's going to cost you to be turned away, so I really have to go. I just want to see what's happening on the pitch. I kind of have to put the other side of the box, because
You know,
it's a
Miami.
bit heartbreaking.
You know, Miami Airport's a hotspot now.
To go into the World Cup and they can't get there to support them. Even some
Absolutely.
players who worked their whole life can't even get there. Then there's a referee who would have been like from Somalia, would have been the first Somali referee to do this thing there, and he's been turned away or not been allowed entry. It's just like, oh gosh, come on people.
It seems that politics is coming into a sport. Politics is coming into a sport in such a way, but this is really more than, and as much as, you know, why didn't they just have the whole games in one country? Yes, they spread it out so that it will, you know, save on costs, but it's making it.
Save on costs for who?
Yeah, it's making it a travesty to a point of what's really going to happen if one of these players or somebody, some individual is deciding that a player can't come in for, I mean,
That doesn't mean they can't come back.
Yeah.
You know, by the time, if you can appeal, by the time you appeal, the tournament will be over.
Will be over.
But surely,
if you get denied the visa, I don't have to give you a reason why. You just get denied the visa.
Mbolo,
That's it.
yeah.
The conversation's over.
Mbolo's been denied a visa. Who plays for Switzerland? He's been denied a visa, so he's not been allowed entry into the US.
I'm thinking on what grounds, and we're talking about some famous
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
That
But
was
what-
the team. They don't have to come with a reason, so we don't know. Just like
Yeah.
denied.
They don't really have to explain
But
themselves.
even though they have to expect, my thinking is, okay, you're in the team on your pit.
Yeah.
Surely they could. I'm trying to think of a sensible way of going around this.
There is a sensible Sheda.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this, you said politics, I say politics.
It is,
It's been involved in the thing, but
Mhm.
I don't know.
A lot of this.
Partly, I just see power signs and they're going in one direction,
Yeah.
and that's the problem.
One of the things that they talk about is that they talk about sports people who are coming from a third world country that are using sport as a cover to try and get into a developed country so that they can get a better standard of living and a better life, etc., etc., etc. Those are one of the reasons that they've used. Now, the thing is that most of these players, the majority of the African players who are going to the World Cup, most of them already have contracts of clubs in Europe. So why would you want to leave Europe, because you don't live in Africa, you spend most of your time at your club during the season in Europe.
Well, that's why it's such a false.
Yeah, it's such a false thing. Yeah. Why do you want to go and live in the US? Yeah.
People can come up with a narrative, you know, but before we get too political,
Yes.
because, you know, we
Yeah.
talk football, but the other thing I'm going to just like, it's not not funny, but it's funny. But because, like, back in the day, yeah, football was 45-minute halves and 90 minutes. So you have a little bit of injury time. But we know now that sometimes the game can last like 100 minutes there.
Yeah.
But the other, listen, because of some of the weather that's going to take place in the States, especially in places like Texas, the thunderstorms, if a lightning strikes, the game is like everybody off. Yeah, the players are forced off the pitch and fans need to seek shelter. And so, like the other day, the match was like 2.5 hours, nearly two. The match was halted for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So they have a 30-minute countdown for the lightning. So if you have like 28 minutes where there's no lightning, and on the 29th minute lightning strikes, the clock will reset to the 30 minutes again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just get ready.
For the delay, for that delay.
Could last a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just put people out. When I say be ready, the kickoff times are very different, you know. So you need to sort out your sleep schedule, set enough alarms, make sure you're properly hydrated because one of the kickoffs, they look like, say normal, 8 o'clock, right, that's a good time. But then you've got some 3 a.m. stuff there.
Yes, some Brazil's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you're ready.
That's
If
good.
you're not coffee drink, get your coffee in, and it's dreadful, you're thinking like, hey, it's water, let's keep you hydrated, make sure my alarms and set everything like that. But I'm just gonna enjoy watching some good football, seeing some players from different nations coming with their culture and their celebrations. And I'm just looking out for that. You know, the team to their first time being at the place, seeing how they're coming. Oh my gosh! So that part of it, I'm looking forward to.
Same
It's
on
like 2 days,
I
people.
know.
2 days.
I will say thank you very much. We've got our pull out, so ready to put the scores on the doors and see exactly what's going to happen. So thank you very much for that. I hope everyone else there has got their pull out. I mentioned that certain members of the family. World Cup wall chart. Have you got your World Cup full wall chart?
You know what? I was thinking that the last week we were talking about the managerial. I can confirm, it's been confirmed that Emilio that is the technical manager. I couldn't say last week because it was talk, but now we've seen it. I've seen the picture, we signed. Well, congratulations to my brother, yeah, Kieran Dyer from back in the day. Remember he used to play for Light, he played for Newcastle, played for Ipswich, played for England.
Yeah.
He has been appointed as the new boss for Southend. Now Southend United are in the national league. Maybe they will be able to come up under him in the next following season to get into
Is that a good place?
you know, man.
Well, it's a start. I mean, yes, a start somewhere, you know. And there's a nice lineup of young Black British ex-football players as managers, all coaching teams in the National League.
Oh, I want to say hand up. Got my hands up. I was looking, and I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
I was looking at England coming onto the pitch
Yes.
for the. I'm going back in for the England-New Zealand match.
Yeah.
Now, and they're representing England. They're representing their country.
Yeah.
I stopped counting after I saw 8 melanin-rich players. I'm just saying. I mean, I know they're the only ones. I'm just saying I saw 8 melanin-rich players. I'm sure they'll be doing. You know, I'm happy for them representing.
Yeah.
That might have been the dream because they're proud to represent. Proud to have it. I was just like, that reflection. Any diplomatic thoughts upon that, Tunde?
Too right as well, man. You need to pick the best players. You know what I mean? For your team, that's what you want.
I love it, Rachel.
For young players coming up, for the boys and girls coming up, you need to see something on the screen that looks like you, so you can say, I can do it too.
Thank you.
I mean, so that's what's important. It's vital. Whether on the pitch, behind the camera, whether you in the dugout, you need to see people that look like you, so you can think, yes.
I can do that too.
Yes.
Definitely, and it does not reflect when I say the country, Because Professor and I had this conversation, which we can talk about again later. But just the impact, it impacted me in such a way I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It wasn't just two or three, it was like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, France have definitely been in a situation where they've fielded 11s where more than half. They have fielded all black 11s before. They've fielded all black 11s. Belgium have fielded like 7 or 8. There's also been other teams. Belgium, Holland, the United Kingdom, France have tended to field the most players mainly. I mean, with the France situation, I've also had the wider discussion because I've been to France on numerous occasions, and I don't like the way that black people in general are treated in France.
Okay.
I suppose there's a wider discussion around how people are treated, and in terms of the amount of coaching opportunities that someone like Thierry Henry, would Thierry Henry get a top coaching job in France? Or would it be treated? I would probably put my neck on the block and say Thierry Henry is more likely to get a top coaching job in the UK than he would get in France.
Right. Okay.
Because I don't, and I've heard some French people say Thierry Henry is a little bit too full of himself.
Okay.
You know, again, another loaded question. But with the in terms of the World Cup itself, we're going to stick to the World Cup. It's interesting that, again, going back to the issue and the challenge that we've got, a lot of countries like France, like Belgium, like Morocco, they're going to have players who are going to be not born in said country. Denmark as well, Germany as well.
Okay.
And are there going to be any issues if any of those, when those teams go to the airport? And for those who don't know, Miami Airport interchange is for those who travel know how the Miami Mandem stay and the Miami security and they got the dogs and the drug squads and all that.
Let me step in there, yeah. We have to go back to the football, and I'm going to step in because as we're talking, Wales.
Scotland.
They're doing their qualification for Europe, and they were 1-1 with Czech Republic, and they've scored a couple of goals, and they're 3-1. They're 3-1 up, so go on Wales because it's been a little tough for them in the past, but they're doing things, so that's cool. I watched the first half actually, so I saw that 1-1, so I needed to.
Thank you.
Scotland are 3-1 up as well.
You know what, it's kind of like, it's a shame that we just can't enjoy the sport. There's always something from isn't attached to it. But I'm passionate about that, but I have to bring us back to the football because what we're going to see is the ball being kicked up the pitch, fans enjoying it in the stands, you know what I mean? And young people aspiring to be or to work within a sport, not necessarily being a player, but like I said, always say, there's more than 50 jobs you can do within football and in other sports as well. You know.
Very, very well said. And it's the example of the elders to show a good example for others to want to come into the sport, to not bring it to disrepute. We've got a lot of things, obviously, to know with the rules for the World Cup. The ball. Have we got a smaller ball or a bigger ball? Is the ball? You know anything about the ball?
The tech. Different material. The ball. I can't make the balls. Well, I shouldn't do it. But make the ball smaller. But every time there's a World Cup, they come up with a different ball. They've got a name for it. They've got a name for the ball.
Yeah. Apparently the ball's got a new thing in it, a new tracker.
With technology, advanced, this one is sponsored by Adidas, and it's called a 300 ball, whatever. I don't even know. So this is what they're coming with.
It's got a tracker in it, Tunde, the new ball. It's got a digital tracker. So the ball, when it crosses over the line, it sends back a signal to the officials.
Professor is saying that the ball for the World Cup's got a tracker in it.
Yeah.
So it will send back a signal. What to say? It's actually gone over the goal.
When it goes over the goal, or if it goes out. Yeah. Goal line technology. Yeah, it's got a new tracker in it. So for the ball going out.
I'm just gonna put it out there. If anybody wants to buy FIFA World Cup 2063 under, if I'm saying that right, Pro Ball, 130 quid.
How much? Tell me.
What-
Say again, please.
130. There are training balls that are different, and they're
For a ball?
25 for the training ball, but if you want the official World Cup one there, that is about 130 quid.
I must say,
Similar prices, you know, but that's what I'm hearing,
This is
seeing, I'm
ridiculous.
telling you now.
what?
Mhm.
I haven't looked at how much the tops are, but I'm not even going to go look at them actually because I won't be looking at that.
If you want to be like an official, authentic top, then yeah, it's cost a bit more.
My next question is,
Average price will be, let's say for adults, you're talking 70 quid upwards.
At
And for
least.
kids, you're talking about 55, 50 quid for a kid's top. And I don't know how old the kids' tops go up to, but yeah.
They might be.
Yeah.
My next-
That's it. Mhm.
I've got another question. So obviously there are those, it's World Cup and it's qualifying. For those that are not in the World Cup, what are those footballers doing? Are they just watching it? What are those footballers doing?
Their preparation, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing different stuff. Some of them are probably maybe recovering from injury, some of them will be looking for new contracts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And in between that time, the pre-season, they'll be getting themselves ready for that. They'll be trying to keep as fit as they can themselves. You know what? The World Cup, it kicks off in 2 days' time, but then the transfer window opens on the 15th of June. So
50.
some of them might be packing their bags,
Ooh.
packing up their food to go and move somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be some teams going on tours to various countries, possibly, you know, the pre-season tours and stuff. That's going to be happening too, or they'll be preparing themselves for that. And they may get a few days off on holiday, but the football don't really stop. This is what I'm telling people, so it's relentless.
Yeah.
How long is the transfer window open for?
It goes from
The 15th.
the 15th of June to the 31st of August.
Yeah.
Are there any kind of footballers that we know are definitely moving somewhere or some which are making noise
I'm
about?
saying already that Andy Robinson from Liverpool has gone to Spurs.
Yeah.
Or going, I don't know if that, but that's happening. There's going to be a few more twists and turns.
Okay, that opens up a question. If he's going to Spurs, that means Spurs are buying him. Is he on loan or something like that? Can they afford that?
Yeah, when he's gone, he's gone. So whenever they deal, they've made the deal.
There's ways.
There's ways, yeah. They pay the pennies, you know. So he's now in London. He's a Londoner.
So with that, from Liverpool to Spurs, any other with the team that went down, are they going to be shifting off and getting rid of some parts?
You know what, right? You mentioned West Ham, and I'm deeply troubled by what I've been hearing.
I know.
Mr.
What
Salami.
about, you know, with regard to the co-owner? I don't even want to mention the name, but there's some allegations of a lot of good nature, so that's being investigated, you know.
But you know something I've got to say, and I've heard these things, these situations before. What people need to understand as well is that this particular individual that we're talking about, it's not alleged, it's an actual fact that he has been in a particular industry before he
beforehand.
became. Yeah.
And that's not shy.
This is not a secret, not conspiracy.
Mhm.
He's been running that line of business for decades. So, for this thing, shocking new allegations, is not really a new allegation. These things have happened decades ago. So, what has happened to bring it to light now? That would be my question, because he's been doing that line of business.
No, okay, no, it's not the work that he's doing, right? From what I can gather, because he built his fortune, he made his money from like newspapers, football, and pornography. That's what he was doing. But apparently,
I think the other way around, Tunde.
They started an investigation in 2023.
Yeah.
And the Football Association has opened this up, and then I think there's been a documentary or something with it Panorama or Violence over there.
Yeah, Panorama, yeah.
Things have, then other people have stepped up and accused him of abusing his power and other stuff. So that's what it needs to be. I'll say allegations because I don't know what to see me and because like it's still being investigated. But yeah, it's just like it's sad. You know what I mean? It's a sad situation.
Yeah.
It's detracted from the football. And when it says like he had been banned from contact with West Ham's women and youth teams in 2023. That's the headline that I'm looking at right now. So clearly there's been concerns and safeguarding concerns and there's obviously more investigation that needs to be done before we say any more because I don't know the information. Yeah, I mean
It's a shame.
like the truth, it's to come out. Yeah, it's a massive shame. In 2026 it was another sport is supposed to be a place of safety, you connect with people even for people's well-being, it's good for our heart and things like that. So we have to focus on those kind of things, people, so keep involved as well, keep talking, don't stay silent. If something troubling you, speak to a trusted adult, find that person to talk to, because if you stay silent, that's how things will carry on. You know, like it's not easy.
Not easy at all.
Bravery is being like scared, but doing that thing anyway. So find that trusted adult, talk to them, or make another
Absolutely.
young person,
Definitely.
online or things like that that you can contact. Stay safe.
Definitely, the West Ham. The last thing that West Ham United, what West Ham need, seeing as they've just been relegated, the last thing they need is their owner involved in something of this nature.
Of course.
The last thing they need. They've just been relegated. You don't want this.
No, you don't want it, but he has, as you say, he stepped down, he stepped to us, he can deal with that separately.
Yeah.
He made a statement saying this is going to come out in the press, this is going to be all over the place. In the meantime, I'm going to go where I'm going to go. So that let West Ham sort themselves out, get themselves dusted off, so they can come back up and get back into it.
Not let this be the main focus.
And it's only as we talk about it, it's disappointing. It's what we want to hear. It's football as it's football, and it's I heard some. You know what? Let's Wusa, and we've got the World Cup.
We've got 4 games going on. Scotland, the ladies, have just scored a brilliant goal. They're 4-1 up now against Israel.
Okay, Scotland.
And Northern Ireland have just brought on a young lady, literally substituted her, and she just scored.
Okay, did you hear that?
She just scored. So now they're 2-1. They're 2-1 against Switzerland.
Okay.
I'm talking about the football.
The football, that's what we need to be talking about.
Wales women are 3-1 up against, Wales ladies are 3-1 up against Czech Republic ladies.
Okay. So.
Remember, the people, the lioness is kicked off in just over 15 minutes here. They play Ukraine, send them vibes, they need to win, and then keep an eye on the Spain game to see. I think they're playing Iceland, have to see how they do.
Yeah.
Because really, would be supporting Iceland.
Alrighty. Well, I'm going to say, with all that said, thank you very much, Tunde. Have a victorious day. Have a victorious time on Thursday. I don't think I'll be calling you very often at all, only on Tuesdays. Or I'll send out an APB beforehand. I know.
Yeah.
I'll send supplies. I'll send supplies. Ladies and gentlemen.
It's coming. The World Cup is coming 2 days. And I will be back to tell you what's going on the www.bbmcradio.com next week. Yeah.
Thank you. We are so fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good people, take care,
Yeah.
And I'll see you when we do.
Yeah. Alright.
Alright, wicked. See you later.
music, music, and more music.
Okay. Focus.
See, the headphones is, the earpiece is Bluetooth to the laptop.
So yeah.
The earpiece is Bluetooth to the laptop, not the phone. So I'm not getting any, there's no copyright, anything with music. I can listen to it.
Good.
So we've got something that's working a little bit better, isn't it?
That is.
Yeah.
That is. It means the hands free. From I was like, oh, I can do this. Okay.
Yeah.
Life is good, life is dandy, and life is fun. And I said, well, we're going to have a little bit of 7:44. I know it's 7:46. We've got Mr. Mackintosh coming in at the top of the hour, and we've got Professor with his, oh my gosh. So we're doing a focus this week. What's our focus about?
So our focus this week is not, we had STEM,
Yes,
we've had our book,
we've had our books.
we've had our movie review,
Movie review.
yeah, and we're going to do some other little, we're going to do one more little topic, but this week
Yes.
is going to be Black Sporting Legends.
Black sporting. Yeah. Okay, so with that said, I want to say thank you for those of you who are looking at us live on not just Football 7142, 7142. Okay. 71442. And to our listeners, you're listening to www.bdmcradio.com. And I would like to mention, I spoke about the karting.
Yeah.
And just how, well, actually, without me talking about it anymore, let's go exactly, this is what I want to talk about here.
Seven-time world champion says karting costs have now reached what he calls impossible levels, prices so extreme that generations of talented young drivers may never even get the chance to compete. Hamilton believes the sport is quietly pricing out its own future stars before they can ever set foot on a Formula One grid. It is a crisis playing out in the shadows of the sport's glamour, and one of the greatest drivers in history says it can no longer be ignored. Hamilton's concern is focused on junior racing, specifically karting, the traditional first step on the path to Formula One. For decades, it has been the entry point for almost every driver who has ever made it to the top level of the sport.
Never, and I mean never ask, how was your weekend?
So what he's really talking about here is exactly how karting is being, priced out for those who are coming up in the sport, which is very unfortunate. It's costing those who obviously want. So just a little bit more on what Hamilton has to say here.
Ayrton Senna, Fernando Alonso all began behind the wheel of a kart, but today, the cost of competing in serious karting championships has skyrocketed. What was once financially difficult has become, in Hamilton's own words, impossible for many families. The costs have reached a level that is impossible for so many talented kids. We are going to lose future champions drivers who never got the chance to show what they could do. It is a direct challenge to the sport's governing bodies, its stakeholders, and its wealthiest teams, and it comes from the man who, perhaps more than anyone, understands without money truly looks like. Hamilton knows this issue personally. His own rise through the ranks was only possible because of the backing of McLaren's Ron Dennis, who agreed to fund the young Stevenage driver's career after being approached by Hamilton's father at an awards dinner. Hamilton was just 13 years old. Without that extraordinary stroke of fortune, the story of the greatest Formula One driver of all time might never have been written. And Hamilton is acutely aware that for every driver who found a benefactor, there are countless others who simply disappeared kids who were faster, smarter and more naturally gifted, but who never had a chance because their families could not afford the entry fees, the equipment or the travel costs that modern junior motorsport demands. Today, competitive karting at the international level can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per season. For context, that is more than most families earn in several years. For a sport that talks openly about diversity and opportunity, it is a damning number. To understand just how dramatic the shift has been, consider this. In the early 2000s, a competitive regional karting season in Europe could be run for a fraction of the cost it demands today. Equipment was simpler, entry fees were manageable, transport costs, while significant, were not ruinous. Fast forward to 2025, and the picture is almost unrecognizable. High-performance car chassis alone can cost upwards of $10,000. Engines require constant rebuilding and replacement. Tyres are massive recurring costs are controlled by manufacturers and must be purchased new for each event. And then there are the entry fees, team management fees, travel, accommodation, coaching, and the mechanical support that serious competitors now consider essential.
You know, it's definitely remarkable how costs go up obviously through demand, but economics.
Yeah.
And through the economics, we have the opportunity to see that there's more demand, and with the demand, you know, for some commodities, they can obviously, I suppose, price themselves out of the market.
Yes.
But with this market that's overflowing, and I know we're going to talk about it further, so any comments that you have in concerns to just how football and some other sports haven't necessarily priced themselves out of the market? There's still a demand for that sport, but within Formula One, even though demand has grown just due to its popularity, what we have seen is that it's an opportunity for manufacturers and for suppliers to obviously bring the cost up exponentially. Actually, that's not true, because football has done very much the same thing.
Well, football has done the same thing. What football has done is that football is able to use merchandising, shirts, boots, kit, as something to generate finance. And a lot of the clubs have managed to negotiate really big TV deals and rights, and they've used that money to then spread their wings. So what they're able to do is set up footballing camps, training camps, and cast their net as wide as they can go. But they've managed to actually finance that. So the clubs have become really big franchises.
Right.
Just like with...
Is the same in cricket?
It's in cricket now, in T20 now,
Wow.
some of the T20, some of the T20 franchises have got more money than some of the cricketing boards of some of the smaller nations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite something. When this comes down, I'm going to play Pink Panther and then it's yours.
Yeah.
That's what I was. I'm just going to let you go. And then 1 minute beforehand, 2 minutes beforehand, we're going to give Mr. Mackintosh a call. All right?
Yeah. Yes, so today I'll give you the STEM, we've had the STEM science, we've had a book, we've had film review. Today is going to be a regular segment I'm going to have from time to time, and we're going to be talking about black sporting legends. So, periodically from time to time, what we're going to do, we're going to be highlighting some black sporting legends. There may be people of yesteryear, there may be individuals who are still alive, they may be young, but hence, however, what we intend to do is identify somebody who we consider to be a black sporting legend. What's the qualification? Somebody who has been an indomitable force in their sport, and also, it's not only just being good at your sport, but you've had to have had some kind of impact on your community. Okay, so the person that I'm going to preview today, one of my favourite cricketers of all time, I.V.A. Richards, Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards, born in Antigua on the 7th of March 1952. Vivian Richards playing for Antigua. At the time, Antigua was part of the Combined Islands and was considered a smaller nation away from Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and Guyana. So they had to fight in order to get recognized by some of the other bigger islands to establish themselves. And Viv Richards and Andy Roberts were the first two Antiguan cricketers to represent the West Indies. And this year, in 1976, is a pivotal moment. In the winter of 1975, they went to Australia in a tour. Vivian Richards is a young person playing in the second Test series, and they were thoroughly beaten 5-1 by Australia. Vivian Richards showed enough skill and enough ability for Clive Lloyd, the then captain, to say, you know what, we're going to stick with this young man. And coming to England in the summer of 1976, England were playing a highly anticipated Test match against England, who had South African-born Tony Greig as their captain. During the interview in Newsnight, Tony Greig made a statement in the speech saying that it was going to make the West Indies global. Something, not a very, very wise comment for somebody of South African heritage to say at that time in the 1970s, during the height of the sporting boycott and the apartheid protests. Vivian Richards went on to have a stellar series, scoring a magnificent 291 in the last Test match at the Oval, and stamped his authority as one of the leading batsmen in world cricket. He went on to go to Australia in the 1979-1980 series, where for the first time the West Indies defeated Australia. Vivian Richards himself having a fantastic tour and making a record average aggregate. He went on to play a stellar career representing Somerset in the English County Championship, winning B&H Cup, NatWest Trophy, and various other one-day international games. In 1983, Vivian Richards was approached by the South African government and asked to go and play in apartheid South Africa. The head of the South African Cricket Association says, Vivian, name your price. And Richards' reply was, no, I would not go and play in South Africa, in apartheid South Africa, while the political situation segregates black from white, and I will never go and play in apartheid South Africa. He continued and went on to captain the West Indies after Clive Lloyd retired. And between 1986 and 1990, Vivian Richards never lost a Test series whilst captaining the West Indies. 126 Test matches, over 8,564 runs, averaging 53, and he never ever wore a helmet at all as a professional cricket, as a batsman. One of my favourite players, somebody who always had swag, somebody who represented what it really meant to be a strong, dominant black role model. My black sporting hero for this episode is Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards.
Mr. Mackintosh.
Yes, sir.
You came and call you on time, 7:50 Okay, all right then. So after this, we're gonna bring you in. Okay, just give me 1 minute, and I suppose it's over to you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Don't ask me a question.
That's enough. That's enough.
I must say, I thoroughly enjoyed that in compared to what I found out about Viv Richards. I didn't know. Well, I did, but I didn't. But yeah, thank you. That was good. It's very nice, very nice. So after this, we're going to be speaking to Mr. Mackintosh, and you know how it goes. Don't ask him nothing. Well, otherwise, don't interrupt.
You know, Vivian Richards one time, Yorkshire playing Somerset in a professional game.
Okay.
There were 250 fans who were hurling all kind of abuse at Viv, racist stuff. And Viv stopped batting and went all the way into the corner and said, all right then, which one of you lot's talking? The whole section, all 500 of them, quiet.
Okay.
Quiet. Couldn't say nothing.
We're going to be speaking to lovely Mr. Mackintosh right after this. That's right, it's a shakedown. Mr. Mackintosh, how you doing there?
Good morning to I'm going to say good morning. It seems like morning. Good afternoon, good night to
Wherever you may be. Thank you.
Acting Professor Johnson in the background, and to all your listeners out there, good night. Got a lot to go through. I'm sure before I came on here, the topic was football. As a matter of fact, I was going to sit down to watch the England versus Ukraine female game. But unfortunately, but I'm on the air, so I can't do the two things.
I think we can tell you what the score is. What's the score for the England-Ukraine?
Well, the one you just kicked off.
Okay,
Yes,
alright,
yeah.
okay. We've got a few other scores.
England have to recover after getting trounced by Spain a few days ago,
Yes.
4-0, which was unprecedented. You usually think England winning one of the top teams in the world, but to get beaten 4-0. I know you lot talked a lot about the World Cup and all the, it's a topic that's, we've discussed on before.
But can never be too much right now.
Well, in relation to what's going on in America and, who can come into the country and who can't come into the country, etc. And I'm sure you discussed the blocking of the Somalian referee.
Yes.
They were made their reasons or whatever, but once he put that blanket back on Somalia as a country, it was only to be expected. FIFA have been extremely silent on the matter. His bosom buddy Gianni Infantino, the head of FIFA, again, he has been very quiet on a lot of these issues and topics. There was so much, when we had the World Cup in Qatar, they were talking about, the heat and this and that. People were balling out, they weren't
just as you said that now, this would be assassination attempt number 4, right?
Yeah, it would be.
Sorry.
It would be.
Okay,
it would
moving
be.
right along, carry on.
Yeah.
It's just amazing in terms of all the politics that's going on with the football and the football hasn't even started as yet. There's I'm sure you might have discussed it in England. Now saying the quality of the pitches. Because even their warm-up match they played, they said the surface was sort of not up to the normal sort of standard. Yeah, they made their excuses. They talked about when it was the World Cup was in Qatar. They complained about the heat. At least the Qataris, they put big fans, and some of their stadiums were built with air conditioning and so on to try to mitigate things, which some of these American stadiums don't necessarily have. They now have 1 or 2 big fans for the players, etc. But a lot of the fans as well are going to suffer in some of the conditions. I'm waiting for Project Sheda to see what's going to transpire. And then we got the Olympics coming up in America as well. That's going to be another bone of contention in a couple of years' time.
No,
Because
2028.
if this ban on certain countries exists, that's even going to be worse than the actual football.
Yeah, it will. Yeah,
Because you want 20 or how many teams that's qualified for the football. But the Olympics, it's worldwide. And they ban half of the countries in the world from coming into your country. The Olympics is going to be a shambles. And I think I think the Olympic movement will take more of a stance. I don't want to see a boycott. But if you're going to ban certain countries from coming into the Olympics, I can see other, African nations deciding, well, if they're not going to allow us to go, or my brethren or my neighbors to go, we ain't going either. So, let's watch this space.
Right, brings us back to you, Lord. You're back to you, Mr. Mackintosh.
Well, I'm gonna move on just a little bit in terms of. I was watching the athletics, and I know you are watching the Diamond League and some of the other fringe sort of athletics meetings that's going on around the world. And it was surprising that, as I said, it came to me thinking in athletics, there were a few world records which people were saying they were impossible for, to be broken. And I'll start off with the 800 meters. Now, the 800 meter world female record was by Yarmila Mackintosh. Now, if you see pictures of Yarmila Mackintosh, you would think it's a man. However, in those days, the testing of gender and so on was not as stringent as it is now. So, who knows? But she still is a world record holder. And everybody thought it was going to be, one of these records that was never going to be in sight. When Casper Semenya, again, another contentious athlete, came on the scene, there was talk that she may well break the world record. It didn't materialize.
Yeah.
The next person in line they thought was going to be close to that world record was an American who won the Olympic medal called Moon. Again, she ran a 154 or something along those lines, but the world record still stayed intact, and everybody was saying, well, what's going to happen then? Then came Keely Hodgkinson, the great British still around, fantastic runner, and they thought she was going to be the person who's going to get close or even break the world record. Now, the world record wasn't broken, but over the weekend, this Swiss girl called Wero, she had a race, and everybody was saying that Keely was going to go for the world record. But it was surprising that Wero actually beat her quite convincingly. Although Keely Hodgkinson ran the British record,
And this is the
Wero
800.
became the third fastest 800 meter female runner. And I'm telling you, when I looked at the time,
What was it?
if she's in the right race, don't be surprised if that world record ain't gonna go. I'd like to see it go and erase from the record books, because there are questions in regards to the validity of it. So let's just wait and see. Another shock result in that particular athletics meeting was Amand Duplantis, the world oval record holder.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
he's been unbeaten for years. Nobody has come close to
Or
beating
somebody
him.
beat him.
Yes, and he got beaten at height which he normally clears, and he was beaten. It was a shock because nobody ever thought that he would break or he would get beaten.
Oh,
It just
wow.
goes to show you that
Definitely.
everything is within reach.
I must say, with his world record, because it was last year, or the year before, after we had, was it the European or the Olympics, or the European, or whatever, he broke his record, the world record, and then he came back and he broke it again. So he broke.
He sometimes breaks the world record every time he competes.
Yes. Some
As we
really.
discussed before,
Wow.
when you break the world record, there is he never got by height by a lot.
Right.
He got for 1 or 2 centimeters or
That's what it
whatever.
takes.
And then you break the world record, and he was breaking it like there was no tomorrow.
Definitely.
And every time he broke a world record, he's the one that became fatter. So
Yeah.
everybody thought, well, he's going to remain unbeaten until he decides to retire. And it was a shock that he got beaten. I would say the person who beat him with a fantastic great height, but he still lost. And I was thinking the other day, in athletics, some of the world records, are they in touching distance? Is anybody going to get near them? Which ones are seemingly out of reach? And then two have come to my mind. One is Jonathan Edwards' triple jump. People sort of come within, near, but still a good distance away. And the other one, which has remained for donkey's years, is the world high jump record by the great Sotomayor from Cuba. That record is, I don't think anybody's going to get that close unless they have somebody who is about 8 foot tall and, a real spring. So that world record remains out of reach. A lot of the distance records have been broken and people are getting close. One that's on the books that's still standing there is the men's 1500-meter record by Hisham El Garouj. And I think at some stage that one will go. Whether it goes to a European or an African, that is open to debate. A lot of the sprint records, Usain Bolt's sprint records, I think will stay a little while longer.
For his 100, 200?
100 and the 200. Guys have got close, but with the system they might pass it, but legal times, etc.
Is it 8 something? 7, 9?
Well, it's
Yeah,
9,
9,
I think more 9.4 something along those lines. And the 200, it's 19 point whatever. But I can actually see somebody more challenging the 200 record rather than the 100 record. It's possible. Noah Lyles has got, reasonably close and he's been boasting he's going to do that. And that idiot Fred Curley was saying in the arms games he's going to break the world record, but he came nowhere near it. So when the athletic season is warming up.
I've got a question, President. And my question is, with these world records, is it a case of, do you think it's the longevity of how the world records have been in existence, or otherwise is it the equipment, or just that person in that decade or in that century, otherwise? What is it that brings them?
Well, some of these world records are by, you could say, phenomenal athletes.
Right.
Sotomayor was the high jump record. He was just a phenomenal athlete. I don't think that particular one has anything to do with equipment because, he would have had heavier spines, etc.
Right.
He was just a good athlete. A lot of the other ones, like Jonathan Edwards, I know he believes he's a very religious person. So he's like on the day, he says he felt something, and that sort of carried into those sort of distances. But records are there to be broken, but I think some of the ones I've mentioned would take superhuman efforts to get close. The nearest person I think that got to Sotomayor was Bashim in the high jump, but again he was still quite away. I don't know if you've seen them on the circuit. And basically, there's a light around the track which tells the runner, the pace they're going at. If they're running at, world record pace, the lights will go blue. If you're ahead of the lights, that to me is not a genuine, it's still a world record. But the bare fact that you've got these lights helping you, to me, is not a genuine world record. Because some of the world records I've talked about, they've been won in races without the wave lights. So that is a technical advantage that is, the longer distance runners. We're talking about the 800, 1500 mile, 3,000 meter steeplechase, 5,000 meters, 10,000 meters. When they run those distances and with these lights, I think, the records there are not as phenomenal because the lights telling you how fast they go. Whereas the previous world record holders, they didn't have that facility. So that takes away a lot of the shine.
Do you think, Mr. Mackintosh, they would have viewed, because previously, whenever these had the track meets, the Grand Prix, they would pay a pacemaker
They still have her?
who would go out there and run.
Pacemakers. Most of the events now in the Diamond League, they have pacemakers.
Yeah.
But the pacemakers, again, they have the lights to tell them what pace they have to run at. There's been occasions where pacemakers, say, well, I'm so far ahead, forget the race. Forget about being a pacemaker, I'm going to stay and win the race. And it's happened quite a few times.
Yeah.
Because the others haven't bothered to catch up with the pacemaker. And the pacemaker runs and he gets pacemaker money and winners money for the
I didn't know pacemakers could win the race.
Why not?
The thing about it, they're not supposed to, but if they're good enough and they're running, and then they're ahead of the man, then carry the race. Yeah.
But I thought the pacemaker came on, did maybe 1 or 2 laps and came
And will
off.
come off. Yeah.
I
I remember El Garouge with the 1500 meter, and knowing Yang from Kenya,
Yes.
he was running as a pacemaker.
Mhm.
I remember Yang was running into the final bit and said, but wait, ain't this man a pacemaker? But the man running down, El Garouge picked him. Yeah.
I've seen it myself. I
Yeah.
remember it was a white runner, an American guy was running in a race, and he was supposed to be the pacemaker, but nobody kept up with the race. And a man's got a lap to go, you're 30 meters in front. You're not going to drop out the race and say, well, let the favorite come through and win the race. The man won and won the race.
Yeah.
It happens.
Okay. It doesn't seem the pacemaker is employed for the other.
Runners for the guy to try and break the record. That's why it's been brought in. Yeah.
Well, that's it, for people to run faster time. But
Yeah.
also, some of these races in the Diamond League, it also helps if there is a pacemaker, especially in the distance races.
Yeah.
Because if somebody goes on fast, that means because a lot of these races, sometimes they don't have 8 minutes, sometimes in the long distance races, they have so many athletes.
Yeah.
If everybody started and ran the same pace, people will be falling and tripping over each other.
Yeah.
So they have a pacemaker so that people can try and run faster, the field can get spread out a little bit more.
Yes.
So that's one of the other reasons why they have pacemakers in some of these events.
Thank you.
I was watching some of the Diamond League, and it just shows you again. I just still sort of talk a little bit more in terms of athletics. The world shot put record holder Ryan Krauser, he's been beaten in all the Diamond League matches this year. Bearing in mind he's thrown further than any other, 23 meters and change. But he had an injury on his elbow, and in the last couple of events, he has not managed to gain back the dominance that he once had.
Yeah.
And again, it just shows you if you're not at your peak, you can get beat.
Yeah. If you don't have the right support with the that's why again the sports science and the physio and the biomechanics is so critical in your recovery. If you're not having that support.
A lot of money, a lot of these bigger countries now, they employ physios. A lot of the top earning athletes, they have their own kind of support staff, etc.,
Yeah.
to help them. And
Yeah.
things have changed. It's not like just before you come on a man up, you such a high massage that your body's hurting you.
Yeah.
There's lots of other things now, high
Yeah.
What do you call those things again where the divers go
Yeah, the
chambers,
cryogenic chamber. Yeah.
bariatric things and this, that, and the other, all kinds of different things to try and help athletes recover now.
Yeah.
So I really athletics for a time here. I just want to move on quickly now. We've got cricket going on, and again, I will use the word, the bigger countries, and especially the English press,
Yes.
when they play cricket in other parts of the world, they are quick to criticize. You know, they go to India or the West Indies, oh, the state of the wicket is disgraceful, it is not good enough for test cricket, and blah, 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 and they slag it off. Lords is the home, allegedly the home of cricket. The wicket that these guys played on in the match between England and New Zealand was absolutely disgraceful. Not fit for a proper game of cricket. The ball hardly, the wicket hardly gave the bowlers any bounce, therefore giving them an advantage because the ball didn't come up properly to the batsman. Hence you had such a low scoring game.
Yeah.
Balls were skating along the ground. Now, yes, they slapped it off and said it was not the standard. But the vitriol of the press, when it happens abroad, is totally different from what you're hearing now. You know, I'll put it in Caribbean terms, the shame.
Yeah.
The shame because they're always boasting about the English conditions and the standard of their wickets and so on and so forth. And now to have this happen at the home of cricket,
Yeah.
you know, sends a message. You might sometimes keep the blasting mouth shut.
Yeah.
You
Well, they
understand?
did have that there, Mr. Mackintosh. The game, the Trinidad Wimbledon game went viral when it was talking about the state of the wicket, and Curtly Ambrose made a comment. Curtly Ambrose was coaching the Wimbledons at the time, and they did make a comment that, you know, the wicket, and I remember it being on some Indian podcasts and some Australian podcasts, and they was talking about, you know, West Indies are going down, they're not the force they was, the wickets are really poor, they need this, they need that, substandard, third world cricket nation, third world resources, big criticizing.
Remember a few years ago, Professor Johnson, they cancelled this cricket match in, was it in Jamaica?
Yes,
Where the English batsman got hit.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, the wicket is not up to standard, you know.
Yes.
There was an issue with that was slightly different. There was an issue with the ground in Antigua.
Yes.
One time where, you know, the Richards new stadium where they said the outfield and blah, blah, blah. But in cricket in Australia, for example, they have what is called dropping wickets.
Yeah.
So basically, the square, not a square, but the pitch that you play on, they
Put
remove
in a
it
greenhouse.
and literally roll a new one in there. Oh, this is not blah, blah, blah. And they make all kinds of complaints.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, your pitch is substandard, whereby your captain and everybody else has to say, no, this is not good for test cricket.
Mm-hmm.
And in the game, low scoring, yes, England won the game, but again, now there's controversy after the game because apparently the captain and another guy went out to a nightclub and got involved in a fight. And these guys, sometimes you think these men don't have sense. They have so much issues and problems when they went to the Ashes in South Africa. You keep playing, you think, well, you know what, I'm going to refrain from going out and having a few beers.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
Professional guys. You know, the captain of all people, they're going to be out raving in nightclub.
is
Other
that...
countries don't do that, but after the debacle of the Ashes,
Yes.
you would
In
have
your
think,
field.
Yeah.
You would have thought, I was quite, well, as usual, disappointed from the point of view, especially at home,
Yeah.
that you would keep your still.
Yeah.
And obviously keep it together.
stay in a hotel and relax yourself. What are you going to nightclub for?
Yeah, well,
Yeah. And especially again in England as well.
I
Yeah.
once was in Grenada at the time. There was a match being played in Grenada.
Mhm.
And West Indies were in, well, I will use the word, in trouble, and they needed the batsmen to, you know, come in and save the game. When I went to a nightclub, who did I see there? It was Dwayne Bravo and Marlon Samuels booking it away till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then went out cricket to play at 10 o'clock the next day. And they were both absolutely knackered. They weren't back there. They You know, that's
Yes.
top cricket. That's
I'm
my
professional.
guys. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah. That's just not, madness.
That's my kind of standard of cricket, not for international level to be going.
Will they-
and
will-
doing things.
Further to that, are they penalised for that action, or otherwise is something else going to be done? Because
There's been other
The
inquiries.
ECB are looking into it.
Yeah.
The English Cricket Board are looking into it because I think he involved also a rugby player from Saracens.
Yes.
So they're looking into the incident. When the Dwayne Bravo and Marlon Samuels affair, yes, it was mentioned and so on, and they took various sanctions, etc. But I just sort of digress. At that time, I think was Otis Gibson was
Yeah.
the West Indies coach.
Yeah.
I'll tell you plain and simple. That man didn't have no respect for Otis Gibson. The mentality of somebody's died is because he's a black man. Now he's a black man, he's a West Indian man as well, so we could do what we want. He can't tell us anything to, what we want. Understand?
Yeah.
That was the mentality.
Yeah.
If it was a white coach or a foreign coach, their behavior may or may have been different because it's not colonial thing, or they respect that particular coach. But because Otis was one of them, they showed him no respect.
Yeah.
He came in and said, well, I'm putting in my sanctions. Excuse me. Oh, we've come from England, you're playing England cricket, why you tell us about that far? That's the sort of mentality that transpired at that particular time.
Familiarity breeds contempt sometimes.
yes.
When they're too familiar with you, they don't see it as an opportunity, they see it as,
He was once a player.
yeah,
He coached a little bit in England and bam.
Yeah.
He got the West Indies job and then just didn't have and that was when West Indies went through a really poor period
yeah,
in terms of their cricketing. And I, who know guys who played at that time, saying a lot of them guys just didn't have the respect for him. All he
Yeah.
tried to impose and rules and regulations, they just totally ignored him and followed, the likes of Chris Gale and so on who wanted to be on the field. And people don't know that, but because I had people in the camp who have relayed that to me,
yes.
my contacts, they
Yeah.
were saying, Otis Gibson had a hard time.
I remember listening to Jonathan Agnew, he was commentating for England at the time. He said, I was actually walking out on the street and who did I see running like the clappers to his hotel? It was Chris Gale. It was Chris Gale at 2 o'clock in the morning, running like the clappers. Running into his hotel room. Yeah. And I know Gale is a man who loves that dance. I know that. That's one thing I do know. Gale loves that dance. I know that much.
Alrighty. So
Yeah.
with that with the cricket and everything else, anything on Cheltenham? Or have we moved?
Well, I was going to not Cheltenham, I was going to mention in terms of the derby. Now, the derby, again, the derby became and I made me lose my £10 too, I don't know the fact, but that's not the point. The point is, I put a few horses in the race, but I
Yeah,
put
same.
10 on favourite.
Rest.
Now, before the race, when the horses go into the stalls, I don't know if you read a story about it in the paper, the favourite's back foot, as they would use in the Caribbean term, goes up on the stall. So the horse couldn't get a good start, and that's the horse's natural thing is to run from the front.
Yeah.
But he came out last in the stall because the stall handlers did not see that the
Before it.
horse's foot was up on the stall.
Yeah.
So the stewards then said that they're going to rule the favourite as a non-runner. So it caused a lot of controversy, but so basically people who gamble on it
They
will
lost
get
their money.
back their money.
Okay, because he went as a non-runner, that
Yeah.
means that
You get whatever you put on,
You get
you
back.
get
He
it
can
back.
take back.
Okay.
It's unusual they would do that, but the rules do say if a horse doesn't get a fair start, then this wasn't a fair start because I said it's the responsibility. This is your showcase race. All the stalls have got cameras.
Yes.
They didn't pick it up until after the race.
Come on
So the
now.
starter could have, one of the stall handlers could have seen that the horse is
And
back foot.
should have seen it.
Yeah.
So my next question.
Starting the race on 3 foot.
So with that said, that means that the favourite's out, and whose stable was that?
This was, I don't know which stable it was. That was O'Brien.
The reason why I said because obviously he might have had 2 or 3 horses in
Well,
that
he did,
race.
because he had about 3 or 4 calls in the race, and one called Christmas Day. One the race, Christmas Day, one the race.
Okay.
I'm still waiting, apart from having the non-runner as a favorite. I think the other two that are still running.
Oh wow! I hope there are those.
I know I have my little gamble from time to time, but
Why not?
that wasn't my day. I chose some bad.
Yeah, you're listening to the wrong dog, mate. You're listening to the wrong dog.
The conditions actually for the race changed dramatically because we've had a warm, nice hot summer. But that particular day, the heavens opened up, the going changed. Remember I said to you before, some horses like it soft, some like it medium, some like it brown hard. So a lot of the favorite horses who are what I call it firm ground specialists, they could perform in that race. You know what I mean? And then the crowd, some of the crowd for the derby who usually stay and drink their champagne and so on, the weather became so bad that they had to leave early because of the conditions. But we got some nice racing to come, Royal Ascot and so on.
That's right.
Next couple of
The
you
hats.
have some friends who go to that.
I do.
They go down there, a black crew. They go down there, they dress up, they bring their music.
I must admit, that environment has changed. I went to Ascot myself and thoroughly enjoyed it. And now, whereas we might have had one or two coaches of Melanin Rich, we have a great big paddock, and they have to make room and way for us.
Yeah.
And it's great, but I do wish that we would I'm sure get involved in the racing as well, because it's great to see a horse race. There's something about the energy. I mean, I like F1 from that point of view, but when you see the machine of a horse go past you, then you can really respect and appreciate the horsepower that is there with the jockey and with the horse. And I think.
Well, there are a few sort of jock black, or I will use the word ethnic jockeys, but.
Oh yes, there are.
Now at a relatively high level, like the Levy brothers. So they're doing they're Sean Levy and Joe Levy. They're doing relatively well. There's a few other little ones coming through in terms of jockeyship. And one of the big races was won by an Indian owner. So, which is unusual. Usually it's Irish owners or English owners, American or Arab owners. But for somebody of Indian heritage, it was for the first time they won one of the bigger races at the Derby Meeting. I think it was the Oaks winner or something like that was owned by an Asian and Indian guy. So, time will change it, But that might do heavy rest now.
That's right. Too much hard food.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of travelling. It is.
Nobody is traveling, as we said before. It's not an easy life, to keep your weight down and so on. They brought in the last few years, they brought in stricter rules because a lot of jockeys were turning to illegal substances to help them cope with this weight loss situation, sniffing their cocaine and so on and so forth. And that was a means of helping them. We go back to the likes of Kieran Fallon, even Frankie Dettori. They all come unstuck at some stage taking substances because it's a hard life.
Yes.
It's a hard life trying to strip your weight down. And if you're a little bit taller, it's even more difficult. So, to get the rides for the big stables, you have to be like, 7 stone and change or whatever. If you're 8, 9 stone, then you're not going to get as much bookings. And then a lot of these jockeys, they were what do you call it? Trying to get the water out of their system by before going to a race, you're going into a sauna or steam bath and so on and so
Well,
on.
that's usual, isn't it?
That has its issues and problems as well. Some boxers do it also, in order to strip weight. And then we talked about this before. There's a movie about with the actors. I forgot the actor's name. An Olympic boxer who was doing all sorts of things to strip weight to get a championship.
That sounds like about De Niro. He's the kind of
No, it
boxer.
wasn't De Niro. It was one of the later. It's just it's a film that about a couple of years ago. So it's not De Niro on it. It's Orlando. Is it Orlando Bloom? Or one of the guys? I can't remember. Well, I said very much, I said.
Thank you very much.
We talked about the tennis. The French Open final event was Zverev,
Yes.
won the five setter.
And what you got that? Okay.
Yeah, a good little piece of tennis. I have some more topics and more historical things to talk about.
Thank you very much. Did you
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
did you take a peek at any of the boxing?
I had a look at yes, there was another issue. You remind me now. I was going to talk about the new Zuffa boxing promotion.
Right.
And how that's going to impact in terms of some of the established boxing promoters, and as to why Dana White has all of a sudden decided he's going to go into being a boxing promoter. But I don't know if you know, Dana White is the main man for the UFC, which is the mixed martial arts. He's the main man. He's a very
No, but I did see some mixed martial arts with this girl from
Dana
China.
White is the main man with the UFC, and he's a big supporter of Donald Trump.
Oh,
And
okay.
Trump was actually born.
Gosh.
Well, they're having a UFC ring put in the White House for some celebration or whatever. Yeah? But Dana White has now gone into traditional boxing
Okay.
and under this Zuffa promotions, and that's causing quite a stir amongst some of the, and I use the word traditional boxing promoters like Eddie Hearn and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Because Zuffa is taking away some of their, like Conor Ben and some other boxers, they're taking them away because they're offering them various packages and so on and so forth. A lot of the money, again, we thought that it would pass, but a lot of money is apparently coming from Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, so pumping money
So
into
for the
this.
games to be there as opposed to Las Vegas.
You know, I was reading an article earlier, they said it's Zuffa, and now saying, well, they want to, like I said to you before, there are about 4 or 5 different boxing organizations.
Yes.
WBA, WC, IBO, IBF, all these boxing things with their champions, etc. And Zuffa are saying, well, let's forget it, just come to Millwall, let's forget that. We're going to have our own world champion. So a lot of the established brigades say, no, you can't be doing that, Trent. You're just a fly-by-night, you just come on the scene, yet you want to impose, your rules. But as I said before, what talks she got? Money.
Money talks, yeah,
And if you're going to
absolutely.
attract some of the bigger names and say, well, rather than 1 million, I'm going to give you 10 million, then people are going to start looking. So that's another area that
We'll
I'll
pick that up.
researching and looking into.
Yeah.
So I'll speak to you next week. God spare me.
Thank you
Yes.
very, very much, Mr. Mackintosh.
Yes, sir.
Take it easy.
There we go, you too. We are very, very fortunate. We're listening to Mr. Mackintosh, as you know, with his agenda.
England women have just scored 2-0.
They have just scored 2-0.
Yes, 2-0.
Okay. And what happened with the tennis?
The tennis, Miss Mboko and Serena Williams in the doubles, they won their game, so they won 7-6, 6-2.
Oh, so obviously they had the tie at the end.
Yeah,
They had to get that match point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very exciting. Well, I'm just thrilled. And back to our segments with Mr. Mackintosh. Obviously next week we'll be speaking with him again at the topic at 8 o'clock. And before then, we've got Professor. Now, Professor, we've been going through our STEM segments, our Caribbean Corner, our book review, film review, and our sporting community spotlight, obviously, and our sporting legends.
Yeah.
So next week, we'll be
Is our spotlight next week or is it STEM?
spotlight next week. I think we've got our sporting community spotlight.
Next week we're doing our community sporting spotlight.
Community sporting spotlight. So yeah, very nice. At this point, I've got to say a shout out to those that be. Haven't been shout outs today, actually. So let's definitely go shout out to those that be. Those that are not necessarily here, but they're there. And Missy is one of them. So with that, shout out to you. Any shout outs you want to go with? You got there?
Any shout outs I want to go with? I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to someone called Viral Paul. He runs a community cycling organisation. He's also running a few homeless shelters. He's running a place for women of domestic violence abuse, a 24-hour one-stop shelter where women can go and look after themselves. He also supporting homeless people on the streets and things like that. And he's a man of